everybody, it's Cindy, and today I have a video for you that is part of the Laura's Loft blog hop. I am going to be using the We Are Memory Keepers fuse, which is available on her shop, and I'm going to be using a variety of other products. Now this is We Are Memory Keepers fuse paper. So this is actually made specifically to be used with the fuse, along with, they have some acetate type pockets and sequins and some fusible little cut aparts here. They're not actually cut aparts, they were already cut apart. Some fusible little embellishments. I'm going to be using all of this with the photo sleeve fuse. Now to go along with that, I'm going to use the Gorjuss stamp here, and this is going to be a thank you card, so I'm kind of thinking it's kind of for a teacher thank you gift. It's really weird that I would do a teacher thank you gift now because I don't have any kids in school this year. My stepson is in high school, my youngest, but other than that I don't have any kids in school anymore. Everybody has gone on to bigger things now. But I'm still going to do it. Maybe somebody will need it along the way. I'm going to stamp her on a scrap of on a scrap of Nina Solar White. And then I'm going to color her in Copics. And I use a variety of colors that would most closely coordinate with my card front, which is going to be a shaker. And I used a variety of skin tones, some aqua tones, and then a red for the apple. Her dress is going to be strictly in the aqua tones, which I think will be interesting, with no red on it. And then just that red apple popping up will be kind of graphic. Now to choose my colors, I used, pardon the Copic noise there. Okay, to choose the colors, I used the HexChart that Sandy Allnock put out. Now, I really like this a whole lot better than the Copic chart that is available on the Copic website, just because it puts the colors close together. And I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but I am red-green deficient, colorblind. So I see the same color as everybody else does, I just see them slightly differently. It's not like I don't see a color. But this red would be really hard for me to decide what goes together because they all kind of look very similar to me. Same with some of the greens. I have a hard time differentiating, especially in these three colors right here. I know they're different because they're different numbers, but to me they look very similar. So I am really happy to have this available for me. The Copic chart goes strictly by number, and to me that isn't very helpful when I'm trying to decide what 3 colors or 2 colors to use for blending. This is really helpful, and I will put a link to that if you want to look for it, but there it is, sandyallnock.com/HexChart. It's very, very helpful. I highly recommend it, and it makes me realize that I need more Copics. Long story short, yesterday started off as a bad hair day and went downhill from there. Everything that I did yesterday, for some reason, went horribly amok. So the video that I made that showed me creating this card from start to finish is no more. The 5-second intro there that I showed you, the products and everything, that was all that recorded. I have no idea why. I've never had this happen. I have a Canon Vixma something video camera that has never given me any problems, and all of a sudden it's just one day it decides I don't want to work today. I don't even want to talk about it. Anyway, this is the card that I made, and this is almost completely done with the fuse. Aside from coloring this in Copics and gluing her down with ATG, the rest of this is made with the fuse. Everything that you see attached here to the front and all the little texture and everything, all that's done with the fuse. I used the We Are Memory Keepers fuse, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. And then the paper and the embellishments, these little die cuts here, these are all called fusibles. And I'm not going to link those because I haven't found a really good source for them yet. I think they're relatively new products. I don't think they're even on the We Are Memory Keepers website yet. But I got mine off of HSN, so you may be able to find them there. I don't know if the bundle is still available or not. But that's where I got the fusibles. And that's what all of these are, except for this stamped image right here, which is a Gorjuss, I think it's called Dear Apple. So this is the card that I made, and I'm going to show you some of the basics of how I attached everything using the offcuts from that paper. And I'll give you a quick review of the fuse, but you're not going to get to see the making of the card, unfortunately. But it's pretty self-explanatory. It's really simple. This, aside from coloring her in Copics, this took me maybe 5-10 minutes tops. The card base and everything, it's a blank card inside. I think it's a really cool color on the back. It's turquoise, teal, something like that. I thought it went really well together. It's got sequins on the inside. I'll show you how to do that. And yeah, we'll get started. So to add all these embellishments, I used fusibles and the We Are Memory Keepers fuse. So I'm going to talk to you about this a little bit first. This is basically a soldering iron that you don't use solder with, and that's kind of the overall design. Solder is a metal substance that you use to tack little tiny components down, little tiny wires and things. Used a lot in electronics. This is kind of the same design as a soldering iron, but you don't use solder with it. I know Walnut Hollow had one out a while back that was similar to this, not exactly the same design, and I don't know that the tips were interchangeable on that one. They may have been. Kind of the same idea, except that this is mostly used for pocket page scrapbooking, so sealing up embellishments in your scrapbook layouts, or let's say you had a big picture you wanted off by itself and then you were going to add embellishment around the sides. This is great for that. You can split pages in half. You can open a little pocket to let some waterfall sleeves show through so your pages are more interactive. There are a ton of uses for this thing, and we're just kind of getting the hang of it now. It's been out, I'd say it's probably been out about a year. Maybe not quite that long. I absolutely love mine. I use it fairly often. It's a tool that I keep handy because there are so many different ways you can use it. And I made this card. There's no glue except under her. I use my ATG gun there. Everything else is just tacked down with this. And this card seems pretty sturdy. I don't think I'm going to, worry about it falling apart in the mail if I mail it. So I'm pretty happy with it. And I'm going to show you how this works, even though I can't show you the whole process video because of technical problems and bad hair. So we're going to start with this. And this is one of the embellishments that comes in that little bundle that I got from HSN. And to attach anything down, all you do is start off of the page a little bit, so off of the embellishment onto the page a little bit, and roll all the way across. With firm, even pressure. You don't have to push down too hard, but you do have to push down enough that you're keeping that ball rolling. And then there, it's all tacked down. You could pick it up by that. And then this just gives you a little fringy detail, which I think is kind of cute. I did the same thing here with the butterfly, but you can also go back in and add more texture. So I might want my butterfly to look like it's kind of flying around. That's not a very good line, but it gives you a sewn detail without getting out your sewing machine. And if you look close, you can tell that it's not thread. You can tell that it's not sewn, but at a distance, or just to get that same feel of texture, this works perfectly. And then you can go around the outside of these and just add even more texture, which is what I did on my card, because I love that textural detail that you get with sewing. And this is another way to add that. And all I'm doing is just running this along the edges. And you do want to add, I almost forgot to tell you this, you do want to use a mat of some kind. I have the We Are Memory Keepers Fuse mat, just like that. There it is. This is kind of a neoprene kind of substance. I also have a glass mat that I use, which works just as well. But this one, it rolls up, stick it in my desk drawer, and it's out of the way, and it takes up a whole lot less space in my glass mat, so this has become my go-to now. You can also use these little pockets, and that's how I made the shaker pocket. And this is like acetate, but it's not quite as heavy, and it's a little bit more flexible like a page protector is. So you can just open it up, pour sequins down in there, and that's how I made the shaker pocket. I just attached it to the back. And then because I put the card front on, the card base, you can't see it, but it's there. The sequins are there. Now the good thing about these, you can still attach them to your page as well. Same process. You can use a ruler. Most of the fuse bundles that I've seen come with a ruler. And you just line it up, roll it right along there, and now you've attached your sleeve down to your page. Just like that. And then you could add a photo in there, and you could do a series of them and make it so that they would open on the outside of your scrapbook page, or add a little card in there, tuck a little card in there to make your page interactive. There are a ton of videos on YouTube showing different ways to use this. This is my take on it. Like I said, I'm going to use it mostly for shaker pockets, for pocket page scrapbooking, and then for adding that textural detail, which I love, without pulling out my sewing machine. I still will use my sewing machine, but this is definitely a good alternative. I like the texture. This product is really well made. I will say that the only issue I've found with this so far is the stand. Now the stand by itself does not support the weight of this very well, and it tips over. So if you buy this one, make sure you buy something or have something that you can mount it to. So in my case, this was an old bamboo board. I think it cost me $7 at the local grocery store. You can buy them at dollar stores and stuff for less than that. I used it for the longest time for my watercolor paper when I was painting, but because my watercolor paintings now are much larger, I had to get a bigger board. Just flipped it over and glued on the rests for the fuse onto my board using Gorilla Glue, and it works perfectly. It keeps it in place. It makes it so it doesn't roll. It keeps me from burning myself unless, you know, I'm using it and just not paying attention, which does happen. But this works really well. I've seen some other ways of doing it with little blocks of wood and stuff. This was what I had available, so this is what I used. I wouldn't suggest using it without attaching it to something, just because it does roll, and it is incredibly hot. So that's it for my mini review of the fuse, and for my almost but not quite card making process video. This is the card. I will have close-ups to it directly after this. I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for future crafty videos. Have a good day.
La 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 la.